Hey, I'd like to welcome everyone into our Financial Basics webinar. I'm your host. I'm going to take you through Member 365. My name is Steve Foley. Just a couple of housekeeping items we usually deal with here at the top of our webinars. We're going to record it and send everyone access to the video. We'll also be putting it up to our website. So if you do want to rewatch it or share it with somebody, you can do so. We have muted everyone. So if you have questions, please put them into the Q&A portion of the Zoom chat or toolbar. And don't forget to check out our website to see any upcoming webinars. This is a two-part series. I'm hosting a second deeper dive into financial tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern. So if you find this of interest, you may want to join that webinar tomorrow or check out the recording on the website. Let's quickly go over our agenda today. We're going to do a deep dive through all the financial settings in Member 365. I'll explain what the settings are, take you through the screens and show it to you. I have a few best practices for you to consider at the end of the webinar, and then we'll leave it for questions. So feel free to put those once again into the Zoom Q&A portion. So let's get on to it. So I'm going to head over to Member 365. Of course, you'll need an admin account in order to get access to what we're about to look at. So I'll log in. And here you'll see your dashboard. If you're still in onboarding mode, you'll see a different dashboard. We do turn that off and put you into this dashboard in case you're wondering. As well, we're about to start changing some of our older clients over who have the black interface to this new interface. So watch out for some email communication coming about that soon. So when it comes to financial, you'll notice up in the upper nav a navigation item called financial. If you do not see it, it's because you do not have the appropriate admin permission. So you'd have to go to somebody else who's able to manage admin permissions if you do not see this financial navigation item. Let's click on that. And that takes us to our financial homepage, if we'd like to call it that. It's where all of your invoices that have been created or that you've created will appear. And you also get access to a left-hand menu where you can get into your reports, set up some promo codes, or dive into settings. So today's meeting or demo is going to focus on settings. Let's head over there now. When you land on the settings page, you're presented with a number of things that you're able to manage. So the objective of today's session is to go through and explain what these settings mean. The webinar tomorrow will dive deeper into use case scenarios as to where they're applied. So let's start. We'll start at the top, going from left to right. I'm going to go through each one. So ARB membership. ARB stands for automated recurring billing. So if you're allowing your members to be able to have their credit cards automatically charged at renewal time, you may be interested in looking at the emails that are sent to them, letting them know that a charge is about to happen. ARB membership settings is where you can get access to these emails that are sent. When we click on any, I chose the automated billing confirmation. This is the email that gets sent, letting them know that the card was successfully billed for the cost that was defined in your membership setup for the automated renewal of your membership. So this is another merge tag that's going to pull the name of the category. And then the invoice URL gets converted into a link that they're able to click on that downloads the invoice for them right there through the email. So what's important here is not to change any of these merge tags that you see on the screen, but by all means, you can change the written text that you see in front of you. As well, you'll notice that there's a subject line that you can also tailor. So this one is sent when the card is successfully billed, when we go to try to do that automatically for the member. The next one is the payment failed. So if the card were to fail, they would be sent this email letting them know that there's been a mix-up, it's been declined for the cost once again in the membership name. We provide a URL, so this tag gets converted to a link that's unique to the person. They're able to click on that without logging in anywhere, and they can update their card information. And when they do that, it reprocesses the charge. So you're able to, once again, change the wording of this to suit your communication. And then finally, the one in the middle that I jumped over is the heads up. So this is the one that is sent before the charge happens. And it's just a reminder that you're about to charge this fee. And there's a link that is included that allows them to opt out. So if somebody decides, hey, I don't want that to happen, they're able to click on that link. And without logging in, it would opt them out of the automated recurring billing. Now, some of our clients do remove this because they enforce automated recurring billing. It may be where you're running a membership where I'm paying you every month, and I have to agree to pay for that with a credit card. So if that's your scenario, then you would want to possibly consider removing this and suggesting that they get in touch with you if they're looking to cancel their membership with you. So those are the 3 emails that can be set up that are sent to any member that's opted into having their credit card renewed. Tomorrow, I'll show you where you can implement them in the membership category. So if you're not using these, it's something that you can set up. So that's our ARB membership setting. We're now going to go into default currency. Default currency allows you to choose the currency that appears to your member or contact making the purchase, as well as in your reporting. And more recently, if you're in any international countries outside of Canada or North America, here, Canada and US, we've recently added a number of new currencies to our dropdown. Let's head into dunning reminders. Dunning reminders are notices that a member's made a purchase, but you haven't received payment. So it's applicable when I don't pay using my credit card. If you're offering check as a payment choice, when I hit a checkout page, for example, that creates an accounts receivable in Member 365. And then dunning reminders can be set up to send at intervals once that invoice goes into arrears. So my schedule is set up to notify the member 30 days after that initial purchase. If the check still hasn't arrived, we send an email out automatically, just reminding them that there's a payment outstanding. Once again, you can change any of these email templates, but pay attention to the tags and leave the tags as they are. With the overdue payment notices or the dunning reminders, we provide 2 URLs. One is a link. So this tag gets converted into a unique link that the member can click on, and it allows them to pay for it. So if they decide to change their mind and use a credit card, they can follow that link. And without logging into the member portal, they're presented with a checkout page and they're able to process their card. However, if they're intending to pay with a check, more than likely they're going to click on the invoice preview URL. And what that does is it loads the invoice in a PDF for them so that they can print or save and pass along to whomever might manage the payment of that particular invoice. So here you're able to introduce a frequency that makes sense for you and your organization. I have it set up to send 30, then 45, and then 60. Of course, once I make payment, I stop receiving them. So there's nothing you have to do on your end to turn them off. And that's dunning reminders. Next, we'll get into the email payment confirmation panel. This one, I advise that you play lightly, even get in touch with us if you're looking to update any of your text and emails that go out through a purchase. Some things we actually have to change for you. So if you're ever wondering, hey, can I change that? It's a good thing to raise through our chat system or submit a ticket. If we have a control over changing the text, we'll certainly help you accomplish that. But what this screen is something that would allow you to tack on a message that will appear on any type of purchase, whether it's a membership, an event, something through the store, access to a training course, or a donation, for example, run through the fundraising. You can add a personalized note to the top, and then all the tags that we're seeing here are used to determine what the purchase type is, and then inject the wording and invoice itself that relates to that purchase. So this one's a little tricky. I can see how it would be confusing. It's something we'd like to help you with if you do want to edit any of your email messages that are sent through a financial transaction. So that's your email payment confirmation panel. Let's head into our general ledger. You may also refer to this as your chart of accounts. What this area allows you to do is to, first of all, overwrite our default chart of account names and numbers. So in your source accounting system, if that's QuickBooks, for example, you will have revenue accounts set up with appropriate numbers. If you haven't mapped those numbers into Member 365, this is the place that you can do that, so that when you generate a revenue report in our system, it will reconcile to these labels and to these numbers instead of our defaults. Now, a good portion of our clients end up creating their own chart of accounts and override our defaults. And you do that through the user created tab right here. Sure, if you're not familiar with Member 365, you'll notice that we do use this tabbing system throughout. So if you see a tab, you can always click over to it. And what this tab is showing us would be accounts I created. So accounts that are not the default Member 365. Once again, mapped to accounts that would exist in my source accounting system, like my QuickBooks. So chart of accounts or general ledger numbers can be assigned to products. So part of the webinar tomorrow will be to show you how to take a custom chart of account and apply it to a specific membership category. For example, maybe you want to start reporting on your revenue, your bronze, your silver, and your gold membership. Well, right now your setting may be just reconciling on our default chart of account called membership. And then when you go in to produce a revenue report, you just have one account, one bucket that's captured all that revenue. So user created accounts would allow you to track the bronze, the silver, the gold separately, and then generate reporting in Member 365 separately in respect to that. So those are your chart of accounts. The next one is, how did you hear about us? This is only applicable if you're using our fundraiser. It's an extra question that's added on the checkout screen when I'm making a donation. I'm able to pick from a list of choices that tell you where I heard about your organization. So if you remove them, there's no question asked on the donation page itself, but as soon as you add one in, these choices would present to the user. And there's reporting in the fundraising module that allows you to see where the donation came from. The next one is our invoice payment stub. So this is applicable if you're allowing members to choose check and payment as a payment type. What this will do is it will tack on to the invoice a stub that they can cut off and return back to you with their check. So what's important in here, let me get my zoom in so it's a little larger for us. What's important is to leave all of the merge tags alone. You certainly can remove them if you do not want to display them, but don't overwrite them. That way they will pull and display the appropriate data. And by all means, you can add anything else you would like to this payment stub, or remove, for example, if you're not accepting American Express, you may want to remove that off. Sometimes members will fill this out with their card information and send it back to you. Of course, there's a way in our system for you to then go and process that payment using the information that they've supplied to you. Zoom back. So that is our invoice payment stuff. And then the other thing you have to set in here is your term. So when is payment due? Because what that will do is it will populate the due date. So we have it set to 30 days. So if I make a purchase today, I would have a due date set 30 days from today. So if you don't want to use our due date, you can always remove that string of text in the template. Or if it's due on receipt, you might remove the tag altogether and just write that out, due on receipt. So that's our invoice payment stub. The other thing you can do is to every invoice, add a generic terms and conditions. So this does appear on all membership type, all purchase types, membership, events, store, fundraising, and so on. So it is a generic message that's displayed on any invoice that is sent to the member. Usually it includes your payment terms, or if you're only accepting a credit card, you may use it to thank them for their payment. You can also use this area to promote anything that's going on in the organization. So feel free to change this over time. It doesn't overwrite previously issued invoices. It would only appear on invoices issued going forward. Let's head into our localization tab. What this allows you to do is align any spelling of the word check, credit card, and I have mine currently labeled to be EFT. It's default as cash. So when you set up something that members can purchase, you can always choose what payment methods you will allow them to choose from. In some cases, it's only credit card. In others, you may allow them to indicate they're going to send a check, or that they would like to EFT or ACH or wire the funds over. So if you end up relabeling the button to EFT, ACH, or wire, I recommend that you put into your invoice terms and conditions that we just covered your EFT or your wire information, so that when they get the invoice, they can see where they're supposed to route or direct that payment. We'll move into refunds next. Refunds settings allow you first to set terms and conditions that are presented to purchasers, to your members, to your contacts. So there comes with a boilerplate statement. You may want to come in and change the boilerplate with your purchase terms and conditions. For example, if you allow refunds, you could refer to your refund policy in the terms and conditions block. And then there's an email message that you're able to customize when you process a refund in Member 365. It's typically next day with credit cards for it to appear on the statement. We have a generic allowed 10 business days. You may want to adjust that if you see that the refunds back to credit card are happening sooner. We felt that this was a good enough buffer that the member can wait patiently for up to 10 days for that refund to be seen. But this email is sent to them when that refund has been processed successfully on our end. It's just a matter of how long does it take to appear on their credit card statement. So feel free once again to update the text in this boilerplate message that we're seeing here. We'll head into sales tax next. If you do not charge sales tax, then all you need to do is set it to no, and likely that's how it is set. But if you are charging sales tax, then you can reveal the button to yes. You can designate your tax rate as a default, what would be charged. You can specify your tax number. It appears on invoices. You can also take a look at the tax tables to make sure that it's aligning with the rates that you are intending to charge. We have Canada, South Korea, US, and Australia. And then you're also able to create custom tax tables as well. So if there's any unique tax scenarios out there, there is a custom tax table capability. And then finally, there's the ability to choose your tax display settings. So on invoices, you can show taxes beside each line item, or you can roll up all the taxes at the bottom of the invoice. Finally, moving into payment gateways. Payment gateways are something that is locked down. So you won't be able to add or manage gateways, but you certainly can book a call with us to get the help required to properly add a payment gateway to Member 365. We like to book a Zoom call, take 15 to 20 minutes to do the configuration, make sure it works. It saves us, everyone, a lot of support if you try to do it on your own. So this area here, you won't see the purple add payment gateway button. That's something shown to me as a super admin, but you will see the book gateway review. So if you ever want to explore adding another credit card processor to Member 365, if there's a need to do that, you can book time with us to get some help figuring out the approach. Just so you know, we do support 3 payment gateways, those being Bambora, Stripe, and Authorize.net. We do have people grandfathered using other platforms, but going forward, the 3 that are supported are Bambora, Stripe, and Authorize.net. We're still supporting the others. It's just in terms of adding a new one, we're encouraging you to use one of the 3 supported payment providers. That concludes all of the dive through all of the settings when it comes to financial. I know that was a handful, so if there's questions, once again, feel free to put them into the Q&A system. I'm going to head back into my presentation. I've come up with a couple of best practices for you, 3 best practices to consider. So if you are accepting check payments, I recommend that you add at least 1 dunning payment reminder. Put an automation in that pokes the member, reminding them that you still haven't received payment for their purchase. It'll go a long way to ensuring you capture that revenue. What will happen is when you do send a payment reminder, this is what it would look like. It would come in. I have mine formatted to just be a plain email. If you wanted to wrap this in a template with your logo, you certainly can in those email template managers that I showed you earlier. The next one, again, relates to check payments. I mean, it's pretty prolific still in this space. Your members are, looking to pay with checks. So it's not surprising my best practices relate to checks. But if you are accepting them, you may want to turn on that invoice payment stub. That way the member can, rip that bottom portion off and return it back with the check when they make the payment. And on the invoice, it would look like this. So it just appears at the bottom. And then finally, if you're looking to track revenue by individual products sold, so for example, offering bronze, silver, gold membership, you may have that all going into one revenue bucket, into one chart of account. We recommend you explore setting up custom chart of accounts so that you can start reconciling at a more micro level. What that allows you to do is in the revenue reporting is filter based on the revenue type. And then of course, when the report is generated, it will be allocated the appropriate names and numbers. And just a heads up, if you're not sure if your dunning reminders are being sent or you're considering running dunning reminders, we recommend that you submit a ticket or contact us through the chat system in the bottom right-hand corner. Dunning reminders are a fairly recent addition, and we didn't turn them on by default. We didn't want to release this capability, and all of a sudden your members started getting these payment reminders. So there's in fact a switch that we may need to turn on for you to allow dunning reminders to actually be sent, even though they may be configured and look like they're ready to go. If we haven't turned our toggle on, they won't go. Once again, that was just a protection to make sure that we weren't, sending those out when you didn't want to send those out. So just get in touch with us. We can quickly turn that on right in a chat session, or if you submit a ticket to us. And just as a reminder, there's the second webinar tomorrow where I'm going to do a little bit of a deeper dive and show you, now that you know where these settings are, what they do, I'll show you some practical applications of the settings in action. So if you haven't registered for that, go to our website. It's tomorrow at 1 p.m. And just to remind you, there is lots of help available to you, everything from chatting with us, searching our knowledge base, submitting a ticket, or booking an appointment with us through Zoom. Now, in terms of questions, I'm going to take a look to see what's coming in. There are a couple of questions here. So one question is around integration with QuickBooks, and I can let you know that we're in early stages of developing our own native QuickBook Online connector so that revenue can be recorded automatically if you're running QuickBook Online. In the meantime, there is a middle ground if you are looking to automate the transfer of the revenue reconciled in Member 365 or put through Member 365 into your QuickBooks. It's a product called Cessant. It's a $9 a month product that you would feed our revenue report into, and then Cessant would take care of adding that into your QuickBook Online. So if you're interested in learning more about Cessant, that's another thing that you can get in touch with us about through a ticket or a chat. Just let us know if you're interested in learning a little bit more about that product. It is a third-party product, but something that our clients are using and seems to be working and automating it. And finally, the other question is, can you have more than one payment gateway? And you can. The classic example is you have a charitable arm or foundation, maybe your 501c3 or recognized charitable organization, and you have preferred rates for that charitable status. So you absolutely can add your payment gateway that would process through that lower account, that account that's giving you the charitable discount. And then for other things like membership or something that you may be selling to the store that don't qualify for the charitable rates, you can run that through a different payment gateway where you're not getting the advantage of offering that charitable rate to your members. So if you need any help with multi-gateway setup, it's a good reason to get in touch with us, and effectively we would have an appointment booked so we can help you with that and take a little more handheld approach. So on that note, I'd like to thank everyone for coming in today. I hope that there's something here that you've taken away. And if you're looking to learn more, I'd love to see you tomorrow at 1 p.m. at the next upcoming webinar. Have a great day.